Story time, Lonnie Appleton style, which means I'm gonna tell my story, but I'm also gonna feed your soul to make sure your soul has its listening ears on. Here's a lesson in faith. So this story is around the time that my mother passed away. My mother, who I was her caregiver, she was my source of income. Now, something I've been very good at until recent history is saving money. So when my mom transitioned, because my income was taking care of her, my income stopped. I had that much savings. But to go down that road is a story in divine timing, and that is not this story. So at the time, it was me, Bailey, and Angel. We were a family of 3. We lived in Dallas, Texas, and we pretty much lived small. My whole life, I've lived small. I'm tired of that stuff. I'm ready to blow. Anyway, it was time for my mom's memorial service, and me and my 2 girls had 0 to wear. Just go to the store and buy some clothes, sis. Yeah, if only it was that easy. But remember, I lost my source of income. My savings was dwindling down to nothing, and I was stuck in Dallas with 2 kids and no options. So the little bit of change I had in my pocket, I was holding on to for dear life. And here's where the faith kicks in. First, backtrack to when my mom was still alive. She had had a stroke, and when she had a stroke, it made her immobile. She couldn't move, she couldn't do anything. All she could do was move her eyes, so she literally was trapped inside of her body. That's another story for another day as well. But I couldn't imagine my consciousness being trapped in an immobile body. Like the torment my mother must have been going through mentally. You ever be in a situation where you can't move around, but you have to sit still, or maybe something's on you and you have to sit still? I just watched a video where this bear hopped up on the picnic table while these people were eating, and the people were sitting there still, and the mom showed the little boys or the kids so they can't see the bear. And I'm just like, I can't imagine having to sit perfectly still or else. Well, I can't imagine because I've had to sit perfectly still, but I definitely can't imagine being trapped in my body. So anyway, while we're standing there, her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, on again, off again, he still loves her though, so he came while she was in the hospital. We're standing over her. He's on one side of her and I'm on the other side of her. And he's like, I'd like for you to keep paying the mortgage. And he hands me $800. So now on top of the dwindling savings account, I have this $800. Very important point. When he hands me the money, I learned from past when my grandmother gave me money to buy a TV and I used it to pay a bill. She got mad at me and I'm like, you should be happy I practice fiscal responsibility. She told me she was upset because she gave me that money specifically to buy a television and I did something with it other than what she intended for the money to be used for. I don't know, control issues, not my burden to figure out, but I learned from that to let this man know, yo, you're giving me this $800 to pay the mortgage, but that's just going to be 1 month of mortgage. Mortgage isn't going to get paid anymore, which means I'm pretty much throwing this $800 away because the house is going to go into foreclosure anyway. Mom's not getting out of that bed. Not to sound insensitive, but that was the reality. So I told him, if you give me this money, I am going to use it to live on. I am not paying the mortgage. So I made him aware my intentions for the money that he handed me, even though he had other intentions. Right, back fast forward to my mom's memorial service. Told you she wasn't gonna be here long. If we gotta lighten these gloomy subjects up, or we ain't ever gonna get to the lesson because we too busy crying. Those of you who know my history with my mom, there's no emotional connection there. I just happen to be the one chosen in this lifetime to be there as a support as she transitioned. That's a whole nother story time too. So anyway, Spirit told me, sis, use 100 of these dollars to go to Ross and buy your kids some clothes. In this respect, when I say spirit, I mean my soul, Ednetta. Ednetta said, go buy your kids some clothes so they can wear something to this memorial service besides these dingy clothes they've been wearing around. Why are my kids' clothes always dingy? I should probably hold a higher value there. It's important to identify that Spirit told me to take $100 and go buy my kids some clothes. I, current incarnation Lonnie, said, I'm going to set an alarm at 12 p.m. and I'm going to go to the store. That was Lonnie who had that agenda, because what happened after that was all divine, and it wouldn't have happened had I aligned with Lonnie's plan. All 12 o'clock rolled around, I hit that snooze button, 12:05. I was like, fuck it, I'll go at 2. Hit the snooze button again, 2 o'clock, 2:05. Like, hit the snooze button again, I'll go at 4. 4 o'clock rolled around and I was like, Lonnie, get your ass up and take your ass to the store. Handle your business. This is also a story about procrastination. No such thing. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Just know, if I was supposed to be at that store at 12 o'clock, I'd have been at that store at 12 o'clock. If you're moving in divinity. If you out here just all willy-nilly, then yeah, you're procrastinating. But to me, I like to look at it as divine alignment. Moving on. So I take us to Ross and I'm looking and I find us outfits and I can't find stockings. I was like, okay, well, there's 2 other stores in this shopping center. I'll check them out. As I'm standing in the line for Ross, I am like, this is about to be $100. I may have mentioned $100 before, but how would I know how much money I'm gonna spend at Ross until I get there? This is the point where I'm like, this is $100. It is in this point that I'm like, I'm about to spend $100 on clothes. This is $100 I need to live. And I was just like, okay, let's use logic here. My kids can't show up in just anything into this memorial. We must at least be in kind of dress code. Buy the damn clothes and trust the process. And those of you who are familiar with me, 2012, 2013 was the year of my awakening. So I was in the infancy of my understanding my higher self. Make sure you pick up your copy. I was in the beginning of trusting the process. So I stood in line and I prayed. I was like, God, I'm going to be obedient because I believe you're telling me I need to buy these clothes, which is weird. Why is God telling me to buy clothes, right? But something that I learned in my journey is you may be doing something that seems irresponsible to the world, but is necessary for your divinity. Case in point, Dre and I going to Jamaica. Financially, in the space that we are in, it was very fiscally irresponsible, even though the trip was paid for a year ago and we just had to go or lose our money. But fiscally, it's irresponsible for us to take a trip to Jamaica, but in the spiritual world, that trip saved our marriage. So was I supposed to be in Jamaica or no? You walk in faith or no? What seems fiscally irresponsible in the physical world is exactly what you're supposed to be doing in the spiritual world. If you walking in intention and inspiration, if you're just listening to your brain, then, good luck. Anyway, I actually pray in the line. I'm like, God, I'm about to spend this $100. I need this $100, but I'm trusting that you're telling me to do this, so we'll figure it out from there. So put a pin in that, because here's where faith starts. Also put a pin in the fact that I could not find stockings at the first store. Divine alignment, pay attention. We leave that store and we go to Old Navy. Old Navy's gotta have tights, right? Old Navy ain't got no damn tights. Another delay, or divine alignment. We leave Old Navy and we go down to Kohl's. Kohl's gotta have some tights, right? Right. I grab the tights and I go stand in line, and soon as I get in line, their computer systems crash. I'm sorry, everybody. We have to wait for our systems to reboot. This is why you don't get upset, because you never know what's on the other side of that delay. If you gotta pray just to make it today, then do what you need to be in gratitude, because I was not angry that the computers went down. I actually had to talk myself through. It's okay, Lonnie. Everything happens for a reason. I teach you in the book. 5 minutes later, computer systems are up. Sis checks me out. I now have my 3 black outfits and my 2 pairs of tights. We climb ourselves wearily into our car, and as I'm getting ready to leave the shopping center, I sit at a juncture. I have a decision to make. I am so tired of living like a hermit and not doing the things that me and my girls are used to experiencing, i.e. going out to get something to eat.